Barbadians are finding jobs at a lens manufacturing company. The way how constituency councils manage their resources being closely watched. And in sports, Chargers create history by being Double Crown volleyball champs.
With the compliments of Goddard Enterprises, those are the headlines of tonight's edition of the Evening News. Next on CBC.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. This is the CBC Evening News. At a time when some local companies have been finding creative ways to keep staff employed and others forced to lay off, one manufacturer is hiring. In fact, 33 Barbadians have now found work with Lenstech Barbados Incorporated at Pilgrim Road, Christchurch, and the company is looking to hire dozens more in the near future. That company manufactures replacement lens for people with cataract. The disclosure from Andel Cummins, the Vice President Administration. Peter Thorne reports.
This is where Barbadians have been finding jobs at Lenstech Barbados Inc. And according to Vice President of Administration Andel Cummins, the company is doing serious business throughout the Caribbean, Europe, the US, the UK and Asia. She says the company has seen significant growth in several areas and has a staff complement of around 150, nearly all of whom are Barbadians. Ms. Cummins made the comments as Industry Minister Dennis Kelman, Permanent Secretary Ruth Blackman, and the President of the BMA David Foster and Executive Director Bobby McKay toured the business facility.
We anticipate that we should probably need to add another couple people fairly soon, and daily we constantly get applications which we have to process. That's my responsibility, and so I believe that between now and the end of the year we could probably see some additional staff. What that number is, I wouldn't really want to even hazard a guess, because we are growing steadily and quickly.
Ms. Cummins says most of the job offers are permanent, adding that they are looking for people who want to stay with the company.
We are doing in Taiwan. We are working right now in the Philippines, and the process for that is ongoing. We also are doing some stuff in China itself, and so it's a market that's constantly growing. And we found that we like the growth that we are seeing there. It's really maturing.
Ms. Cummins says one of their biggest challenges is physical expansion at the plant.
I think just about every department is asking for additional space. And so we have to navigate that very well, because we don't want to move prematurely. And so we have to time it very well. And for us right now, we are limited in some space. We are required to keep our documentation on each lens that we've made since inception for about 50 years. And we are now 14 years old. So you can see that even documentation alone is becoming a challenge.
She says they are looking forward to all the new possibilities, including leasing some storage space. The parent company of Lenstech Barbados Inc. is located in Tampa, Florida. Peter Thorne, CBC News.
Industry Minister Dennis Kelman says manufacturing in Barbados is alive and well, noting that those who have sounded its death knell better think again. The minister today toured Foursquare Rum Factory and Distillery in St. Philip and Lenstech Barbados and described the work of both businesses as world-class. He says they have serious potential to earn millions of dollars for Barbados in foreign exchange while providing dozens of jobs for our people.
The company has a lot of potential. It is working not only with the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, but it's also working with private doctors. And I kind of like the synergies that they have created. What I would also like to see is that this company continues to grow, and wherever it needs additional space and so on, I would like to believe that we within the ministry can be able to accommodate them, because I believe it offers a lot of potential to Barbados.
Mr. Kelman says he's happy to note that the company is changing and is continually looking to expand and to break into several markets throughout the world.
We have world-class companies in Barbados, and it's about time that we talk about them from the rooftop. The impression that we do not have any manufacturing going on, as you would have recognized as we tour, we are seeing it happening at a level that is not reported in Barbados. And I think that Barbadians need to know this, because if the concept of buy Bajan is to work, first thing we have to recognize that we have products that are saleable and that they are produced right here in Barbados.
The proprietor of one of the older restaurants in Bridgetown wants to see more development in the city. Susan Walcott, who has been operating the Waterfront Cafe for the last 27 years, says while there has been major redevelopment over the years, more can still be done to enhance the capital. Ms. Walcott was speaking to CBC News during the end of the Connect Barbados event over the weekend. She says the goal of those in the tourism industry should be to reach out to repeat visitors, as they play a major role in the sustainability of the sector.
They are our backbone and our strength. I've seen tourism develop, and I'm seeing it wean a little now because, of course, of the recession, the world recession. But our backbone will always be our repeat clientele, and we hope that we can maintain their comfort and their happiness and continue to welcome them back.
The management of resources allocated to constituency councils is being closely monitored by the Ministry of Constituency Empowerment. In fact, Minister Steve Blackett says the department is attempting to improve the overall management of them. He was speaking at a swearing-in ceremony over the weekend for the first 6 councils.
A series of meetings on financial management will be convened by the Department of Constituency Empowerment in November, at which the procedural manual for the management of the constituency councils developed by a former financial controller will be discussed to ensure that the accounting processes of the councils are standardized. As you are aware, within the last month, the department has secured 3 additional program officers, and we are working towards bringing on an additional 10 program assistants in individuals who were formerly community development aides.
Mr. Blackett says the department also intends to develop training modules for its staff and the volunteers of the councils. He outlined some of the priority areas.
Accounts and mathematics, motivation, project management, drafting proposals, principles of community development, data gathering, basic social policy, and sustainable development from the bottom up.
The Community Empowerment Minister also assured the council members that talks with the Housing Ministry to address the problem of accommodation have already started. Well, the members of the 6 constituency councils which were launched in the pilot phase were sworn in for a second time. Minister Blackett explained that this was necessary because their constituted period had expired. During that ceremony, Chairman of the Christchurch South Council, the Reverend Austin Carrington, made some suggestion on how the bodies could be more effective. As a start, he suggested that some members be closely aligned to planning and execution of events.
We'd also like to see programs which are not so much of a one-off nature, but programs which would entail 4 or 5 or 6 sessions, whether it's remedial reading or training in some particular skill or area. Another challenge would be to enlarge the core of volunteers. This would require the councils to further educate the community that it is important to give back and to engage in self-help projects.